Hi, Mike Kennedy with you today. I'm 005 Kennedy. I just recently got this BUDK catalog, and they have these Mora clone knives on them. Get $5.99 each, or 3 for $15. Dan's Depot had, I'm sure this is the same thing. His is silver, but it has a print that says Woodsman's knife. And so they're basically a clone of a Mora knife. Now, here's a real Mora knife, here's the clone. Number one, I guess I would have to say right off, if I was going to choose these, I would always pick the Mora. The Moras have a reputation for being extremely strong, not breaking. I mentioned this on one of my other videos, and one of the people had written in and said that theirs had broken already, and the offer had just come out, so the person hadn't had it very long. So while I guess this might be good to keep around, I definitely would make sure I had this, a real Mora knife, or a survival knife or something. If I was going to go somewhere and expect it and need it to work, I would have this knife. But I thought we'd just compare, let you see some comparisons here. I just need to debark this a stick. I'm making a walking stick for one of the grandchildren here. And I just thought you could see that for something like this, of course, light duty, seems to work fine. Now, Mora knives aren't full tang knives. That means the tang doesn't go all the way to the back. I would assume that the tang in this one's even shorter. Say the Mora one is like this one's probably even shorter than that. The resin might not be as strong, or whatever, or how they've put it in. They're supposedly both high carbon steel knives. No, I would say right off, the Mora's sharper because it's digging into the wood more with about the same amount of pressure. I know that's kind of unscientific, but obviously, this knife I've used before, and I've sharpened it. I haven't done anything with the other one, so you could draw your own conclusions there. The type of steel, high carbon steel, which these are supposedly both made out of, is easy to sharpen. Doesn't hold its edge as well as stainless steel. It can rust, but stainless steel doesn't rust, but it's very hard to sharpen in the field. So a lot of people recommend high carbon steel for survival knife usage, or just all around knives to use for different things, because you can sharpen them at any time that you want to quite easily, where a stainless steel knife is harder to sharpen. But you can see for some chore like this, they're both going to work fine. Now, the person who said their knockoff broke, I'm not sure what they were doing. They could have been batoning wood with it, which is where, say you were going to split this, you'd put it here, you'd have this up straight though, and then you'd hit the knife, and that would pry through and split the piece of wood that you're working on. Got the knots here. But anyway, I just thought I'd show that. And to me, the whole idea is kind of silly when Okay, you get a knockoff for $5. You've got the real thing. This is the one step up, the robust. So this was like 20, but you can get the one that this is really the knockoff of for usually less than 15, and sometimes with shipping. So to me, saving $10 on a knife isn't that important if you're going to depend on the knife. I suppose if you're just, you know, buying it and you don't think you'll ever have to depend on it, that's fine. But to me, the Mora knives are the best knife for the money that you can get. This knife being only about 20 bucks. They now have the Mora Black Bushcraft, which is more, it's closer to 40 or 50, and it has some added features. It has a flatter spine so you can strike a ferro rod better with it and things like that. But you can always use the blade edge for that. I've shown this before, but that's my customization to the Mora case, is that I put a fire block with the ferrocerium and magnesium block on it, and I've just taped it on there with duct tape. If I actually use it and take it off, then I can string it to this or put it in my pocket. Both of these knives have cases that they lock in. This is the copy of the simpler cases. This one has a different case in that you could stack another knife on here if you wanted to carry two knives. Gives you some other options, I guess. They both have a hole in the ends that the water would drain out of them. I don't know, I suppose you could theoretically use these as a neck knife, but because they do go in tight, but I just don't like that idea where it's not specifically designed for that. I would think you would lose the knife when you don't want to. But so anyway, I guess my opinion is that this would be a fine knife just for carving or whatever and fooling around with. But I want to take it into a situation where I thought I would have to depend on it. I would always take a Mora knife with me, at least. And like I say, spending $10 more is nothing compared with the outstanding reputation you have with this, compared to, like I say, I hadn't had that many views before someone already said that this one had broke on them. And I assume what they mean by that, by breaking, is that the knife became separated from the handle. So I guess if you just want a plain knife for around the house and doing some woodworking, that might be fine. But I guess I would really encourage you more to spend the $10 or $15 more and get a decent Mora, and you're getting the sturdiness and the ruggedness that goes with it. It just doesn't make sense to me to, when you're talking about something under $20 to be scrimping, you know, trying to save a few pennies. I mean, really, a Mora knife is the best knife that I think you can get for certainly under $50. It's small, it's compact. Once you go up to the $100 mark, maybe there's some other options, but for one of your best knives on the under $100 option, the Mora can't be beat, and especially when you're talking under $50, it can't be beat. It's a very sturdy and rugged tool. You know, it's smaller than a lot of the some of the survival knives that are marketed in the U.S. But I think that's because the Swedish people believe that there's chores a knife should do and chores an axe should do. And a lot of times we're getting both uses out of a big survival knife, and I think they just don't do that. They tend to think, well, I'm going to be chopping wood, I'm going to bring a small, you know, hatchet, a small axe with me. So anyway, there's just a short review of these Mora knockoffs that are hitting the market. And like I say, it's a knockoff. I'd get the real Mora that has the real reputation. And you know that if you're stranded or in a pinch, that this knife is going to serve you for a long time, and it's going to do a good job of doing it. It's not going to break. You're going to be able to sharpen it easily. You know, carbon steel does have some care to it, unlike a stainless steel knife, kind of. But it's well worth it, I think. So there you go. Cheap knockoff or the real thing for $10 more. To me, it's a no-brainer. Get the Mora.